So we got some practice working with those formulas using pyramids. Now we're going to look at some cones. Just remember from that first video, a cone is essentially just like a circular pyramid. The only difference is instead of having a base of a polygon, it's a circle. So when you're finding your perimeter, instead of just using a formula for a different polygon, you're going to have 2 pi r, because that's the same as circumference. And when you're finding your area of your base, instead of 1/2 base times height or 1/2 perimeter times apothem or side times side, it's going to be pi r squared. Other than that, it works exactly the same. We're still going to do lateral is 1/2 perimeter times slant height, and total is that thing plus the area of the base. So we need to figure all that stuff out. Here we've got a cone with a radius of 6. That tells us that the diameter has got to be 12. And so whenever we're calculating the perimeter on this one, that's just going to be 12 pi inches. The area is going to be, radius is 6, so 36 pi square inches. And so now we can just basically plug into each of those formulas. Half of 12 pi times the slant height, just like with pyramids, we have a slant height for cones, it's 15. And let's see, half of 12 is 6, times 15 is 90. So there's our lateral area. It's going to be the area of that rounded part there, and then now we need to add the base area. So altogether should be 126 pi inches squared. Make sure whenever you're rounding these things off, you use that pi button on your calculator. If you use 3.14, you're going to be close, but they're not exactly equal. So it might be like 1/10 off, and I don't want you to be working those assessments in Schoology being really close and keep getting it wrong. So I got 2 more cone questions here. Here they gave me the slant height and they gave me the altitude, but I don't have anything for the base. Well, just like before, it's another right triangle problem. So it's 20, call this r. So another Pythagorean theorem. Now this is also a 3, 4, 5 pattern. This is 5 times 5, 4 times 5, so this had better be 3 times 5. If you're not quite sure of that, you can take this a few steps further and see that you will get a 15. So since your radius is 15, your perimeter is going to be 2 pi times 15. And the area of your base is going to be 15 squared times pi. So it's all in feet. Now we just plug in. They wanted total surface area of each one. We'll say T for total. It's going to be, write out the whole formula so you memorize it by the time you have your tests. Okay, so let's take 15 times 25, because that's half of 30. That should be 600 pi whenever you're done. So I did half of 30, pi times 25, plus 225. That's still an area, so make sure we do square units. Last question with cones is going to involve some trig. So here they gave me the altitude, I don't have the slant height, and I don't have the radius. Draw in that perpendicular, it's an 8, so we're going to be looking for slant height and radius. Okay, so this is a trigonometry problem. Here I have the opposite, and I'm looking for the adjacent. I have the opposite, and I'm looking for the hypotenuse. So if I wanted to find L for slant height, I'd say use a sine ratio. It's going to be opposite to hypotenuse. And if I'm looking for the radius, that's going to be a tangent ratio because I have the opposite and I'm looking for the adjacent. So tangent 52 is the same as 8 over r. Make sure you cross multiply and divide out. Okay, so now we have everything we need for this one. They wanted total area. So half perimeter times slant height plus area of base. Okay, so let's see, if the radius is 8, tangent 52, diameter 16, I'm going to take half of that anyways, so I'll just leave it as 8 over tan 52. Oops, yeah. So that takes care of half perimeter. Now I need to do times L, which is 8 over sine 52. So that takes care of the lateral, plus area of the base. So I'm going to do this thing squared, because that's my radius, times pi. Wow, kind of a nightmare. I'm going to type all that into my calculator, see what I get. So that's 64, divide parentheses, tan 52, sine 52. So I got about 7,918.1, but I'll just leave it like that. Let's see if you all can see if it's gonna focus. No, it's not. Need a better document camera for this one so you can see exactly what I plugged in. Okay, that should be slightly clear there. So you can see what I did step by step. Well, it's not letting me go to the right there, but you get the idea.